Has anyone talked to Jan lately? She's been acting strange. She's got a thing. Have you seen it? It's weird. Who wants to be a part of that? That's strange. Hey, it's Al Calhoun with Coveted Consulting. Let's talk about toxicity. Let's talk about when a certain employee begins to act weird and that behavior begins to filter over to other employees and how to deal with that. So, story here. There's a client of mine, got some team members, right? And there's a particular lady that was functioning really well inside of his business. I mean, she was rocking. The two of them together actually were rocking and rolling. A lot of good things were happening. Their relationship changed. Just the kind of work he needed and when he needed it and how it was going to be structured, he needed something different. And so therefore how they were relating was now different. And so then her behavior changed, her attitude kind of changed. And eventually she put in her notice to leave the company. So she decides to leave, no big deal. I mean, people come, they go, it's part of life, it's fine, okay. But then another person has also begun to act different now in the company. And so this person is considering leaving the company now. What do you do, right? How do you break that down? Now, as the leader of the business, the first thing you come in touch with, the first thing you're aware of are the holes they're leaving. You're very aware of the fact that she's leaving and now there's going to be a hole there. Who's going to do that work? And now this person's leaving. It's going to be a hole there. Who does this work? And you become very aware and very afraid and very concerned that work is going to find its way back on your plate. And there is some, that fear, inside that fear and concern also is some resentment of their actions. You get to leave. Well, what about me? And then here comes the personal nature, right? It's as if they're leaving you. So as leader of the business now, as you think through this scenario, you begin to take this personally. All the layers of that end up on your desk, in your mind, in your thoughts, personally. Once you're here, you make some poor choices, right? Once you're here, you make some bad decisions, right? So we can't let our emotions make the decisions for us. Now, I'm going to offer you what I believe to be the most effective mechanic, the most effective structure, the most effective fundamental that you can apply today to limit your risk of this same situation happening to you. Productize the service. Let me explain. So if we dug deeper into the scenario that I'm talking about, one of the reasons why my client had to work with this certain employee so intensely is because there was so much work to be done. There were so many different types of projects happening in different types of ways, and clients needed different things, and it was like this fray, right? And so he was just trying to survive through the fray. And so he grabbed anybody he could grab to help him get through the fray. I understand it. Sometimes we go into survival mode, not mad at him, not mad at you, not mad at anybody. But once that fray was over, then he didn't depend on that teammate the same way. He didn't interact with that person the same way. He didn't need to, he didn't have to. He began to behave differently. And the employee didn't know how to interpret his changed behavior. So then she began to act differently, right? So let's talk about productizing right there in that situation. If we knew what we offered, if we knew mechanically how it worked, then we wouldn't have that fray, that sense of panic, that sense of overwhelm would have never occurred. Because we told our clients what they were going to get. We know what we have to deliver. We're always marching down that very deliberate pathway. Everyone knows what to expect from the other. So there wouldn't be this change of expectations, this change of relationship. We would have always behaved the same way. It just, right? We get better at it actually, because now we know what it is. But then how do we understand the toxic behavior though? How does this person now affect the other person who's beginning to act weird or strange? Well, listen, we work together. We're employees in the same company. We're team members. So when one person's unhappy, well, somebody else gets unhappy because we work together. We're friends. We're around each other often. So it's not surprising that one person feeling uncomfortable begins to affect another person's sense of comfort. So again, not mad at him, not mad at her, not mad at anybody. This is how it works. But if we had productized the service, if we had the appropriate control over scope, time, and price for the offering, then the first person would have never gotten upset. She would have known what to expect. She would have known what was expected of her. We just would have kept running the plan. And so if the first person never gets upset, then the second person would have never gotten upset, right? We don't have issue one, but then we don't have issue two. Now, I understand in all practicality that sometimes you have outstanding behavior. You have people who do things or experience things, and sometimes it's time to let somebody go. I understand that. I got that. And that is possible, but that's not this situation. And most people are not trying to make a mess of where they work, right? So again, what we're trying to do as leaders of companies is to lessen the number of times this outstanding behavior occurs. But if we just set some base systems in place, then there's less opportunity for random behavior. Everyone knows what to expect from the other. And so if we all know what to expect, it gives all of us a greater chance of being more content with what happens in this place. More content people, happier people, better productive people, it's a better deal for all involved.